Hey everybody, another
Hey
episode
there.
of Liberty Ladies Unite, the webcast. I am Rebecca.
That's right. I'm Natalie. We are your Liberty Ladies and we unite.
So, lots of things going on in the state of New Mexico right now.
Oh, man.
So maybe I might want to start off with where I just got back from. I was doing my Thanksgiving dinner shopping. And I went to the Walmart in Edgewood, which is never very crowded at all. But when you got the tyrant communist governor, Wuhan Luhan,
Yep.
this huge store can only have 75 people in it. Guess what? Lots of people got to stand outside in the cold in a line for over an hour to get in the freaking door.
Oh my gosh.
It's cold over here. And I kid you not, it took a little over an hour for me to get through the line and into the door.
What?
Yep.
In Edgewood?
Edgewood.
Oh my gosh.
It's the store that's never busy. So,
wow.
needless to say, I'm not happy, but you know what? I was talking a whole lot while I was in the line. I had some other people join in the conversation. I was getting some people very motivated.
Oh, good.
And I might even have a new listener on our radio show for Saturday.
Ooh. Ooh, did you get any petitions signed?
I unfortunately didn't have any with me. Otherwise, I would have went up and down the line and got them signed. I didn't even think about that. But tomorrow, I am joining a lot of people up there at the Capitol. We're going to meet up at 9 a.m. in the morning, and we are going to be ready for those people to show up for their special session, and we're going to greet them on the way into the door.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, my family will not be able to make it between a previous commitment and the drive time. We'd have to drive, get up there, and then turn back almost like within 30 minutes.
Yeah, kind of makes that not worth the trip.
And then depending on traffic, that's the other thing too, is the traffic. I hope you guys have a long caravan, a ton of people going up there. And definitely get some petitions signed because we need to get this governor out of there.
I'm going to print up a whole bunch of them and take them with me.
Yes.
I also did a video of while I was in line at the Walmart, and I posted it on the Liberty Ladies Unite webpage on Facebook.
Awesome.
So
I saw that.
You can look at that and get an idea of what it looks like there. It's just insane. It's crazy. It's needless to say, nobody was happy.
Yeah, no, nobody's happy with her right now. Not at all. I did want to talk a little bit about the impeach MLG form. I've had so many questions from people about how does this work? In fact, I was talking to one guy on Facebook today about it. He's like, but it's impossible. It's impossible. And I'm like, well, no, here's why it's not. Here's the pathway. So for anyone out there who's wondering, well, what's the pathway to impeaching the governor? I thought we didn't have a pathway for that. And I don't know where people keep getting that idea, who keeps telling them, no, there's no way to impeach her.
Yeah.
It's in our New Mexico Constitution. And keep in mind, I know there's a lot of stuff out there about, we kind of went more corporate government than constitutional government in the 80s. Yeah. The New Mexico Constitution is supposed to be the law of the land. Before the U.S. Constitution, it is supreme over all. So, New Mexico Constitution, Article 4, chapters 35 and 36 are where it's all laid out that the Senate has the sole power of impeachment of all officers. And when the governor, if they're sitting to impeach like the governor or lieutenant governor, then the I think the chief Supreme Court justice also has to sit with the Senate. So it is included in there that yes, our Senate can go ahead and impeach the governor. But here's the thing. Our Senate, as it is right now, they're not just going to want to bring up articles of impeachment. That's why we need over 143,000 signatures from New Mexicans, registered voters, no dead people, no cats, no pets.
Because
that
I'm sure my cat right here would probably try to sign
Oh
one.
yeah,
Maybe,
she would
maybe a paw
vote
print,
against
maybe.
MLG in a heartbeat. Yeah,
Yeah.
she'd sign her paw print. Yeah,
That's
girl,
right.
I feel you.
Yeah.
But that's why we need all those signatures to force it onto the Senate floor. And as I understand, it's a percentage of the people who voted in the last gubernatorial election. But that forces it, that many petitions forces it to be considered by the Senate when they would not otherwise consider it.
So the question is how do we get a lot more petitions at a faster rate than we're currently getting them? That's how we do it.
We need some recruits. So if you all are listening out there, fortunately and unfortunately, Rebecca and I are completely booked on Saturdays now.
Yeah,
I guess
we're doing our part on the radio.
Yeah, Eddie decided to boost our 3-hour show to 4
I
hours.
know.
He's like,
So
"Oh yeah, you
from 1 to 5.
I'm like, I don't know if my bladder can go till 5, but yeah, no. So we're doing our part out there, and we are highlighting the fact that you all are in Santa Fe. And I know last Saturday they said it was a 21-mile long rally. Whoa, mind blown! That's awesome,
amazing.
everybody.
Yeah, I wish I
need
had
some
video or photos of that. I'd love to post them on our site.
Yes, please send us videos and photos. And of course, if anyone's at one of these rallies when we're on the air, call us. Call us. We would love to put you on live and get a live update. But with that said, now Rebecca and I aren't able to come up to rallies, well, unless it's like tomorrow during the week, where Rebecca's going. But now we're not able to go up to Santa Fe on Saturdays.
Yeah.
So we need some volunteers. We will help provide you the petitions to sign, all the copies, and pens and such, and some clipboards, and maybe you can even borrow a table. Each of us has a table and some camp chairs. But we need some volunteers willing to haul all that stuff up and set it up at the beginning or right before one of the rallies.
And it's really great because if you set up the Impeach MLG table with the signs and stuff, everybody stops by to see you. It's like, it's actually cool. You get to see everybody because everybody stops by to see you. So every time I've been at any rally, it's like I get to see everybody.
Yes, but tomorrow is a great time to do this. So if anybody wants to meet up with Rebecca tomorrow at the Roundhouse, what time are you going to be up there, Rebecca?
I am going to be there at 9. So I'm going to show up with my folding table and my petitions and pens and chairs. And if anybody wants to stop by and help me out, that would be great.
Sweet. Yeah, you can get training on the go. And really all it is, hey, want to impeach the governor? And you will get, kid you not, swamped with me. I swear, last time that we were up there, when we were up there for that huge one with Steve Smotherman and some other pastors and lawyers and whatnot, oh my gosh, as soon as we announced it on the microphone,
they were coming in.
I couldn't hand them out fast enough.
I could not pick them up half. They were handing them to me. It's like, okay, yeah. It's like
it's like I was giving out free chocolate. I got swamped, and within like 2 minutes, I was out. I'd given out about 100, and then people, start handing them back to us and be like, "I want some for my family." I'm like, go to the website impeachmlg.com.
Absolutely.
So. Yes. So we definitely need more petitions. We need more people to sign them, and volunteers. We really need some volunteers, you all. I know several people who are going to a lot of these rallies. So if you're one of those people, meet up with Rebecca tomorrow at the rally, and get some petitions. I don't know, how many petitions are you taking, Rebecca?
I'll try to print up a few hundred anyway.
your printer's probably going nonstop.
I know, probably out darn near used up my ink cartridge. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Well, yeah. We'll keep in mind you can always print them off on the website impeachmlg.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main thing right now is we really got to push to get these, because if we can get to our goal, and I think we have, last I heard, 14 or 15,000 already.
Yeah, around there. Yeah, and
Yeah, so
Stephen Garrett has some too, and I don't know if he's got the same people. That I kind of wish we were coordinated on this thing.
I know. I think his is, when I talked to him, his was a slightly different deal, and it's based on something different. I think it's based on the fact that she's not bonded, which is another issue.
Well, it kind of reads almost the same as the Eddie Aragon. Yeah, I read the I've looked at both of them. I have copies of Stevens also. But,
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we can get all of our signatures during this very short special session, we might be able to force it to the Senate floor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to need 3/5 of both the Senate and the House to sign on to calling for an extraordinary session. And, it's like we might as well right now, we've got the special session. We might as well take advantage of it. But if we can't, then we're going to have to push our legislators to ask for an extraordinary session, and that is going to be, it's doable.
We got a couple of friends up there now, and we need to get them to be very, very aggressive and speak up.
Yes. So let's get on it. Let's do it.
I'm looking something up here. I was listening to 770 today. The sheriff, what's his name? The sheriff. God, I can't stand the guy, but can't remember his name now. But he mentioned something that, hey, that's Clyde. The
other one.
Just about caused a disaster. Hey, Clyde, what are you doing? Come here. So he said something about how apparently Lin Wood, which is one of Trump's attorneys, has come out and discouraged Republicans in Georgia from voting in the runoff election.
What?
I thought that sounded crazy.
I would have to see that to believe it.
I unfortunately had been at Walmart for a couple of hours, and I wanted to verify that. I'm looking it up now, see if I can find something.
Okay. One thing I do also want to talk about, since we have a special session up right now, the two things, and I know I've been blasting this out over Facebook and email all day today. I called my my reps. Actually got a call back from one of them. Oh, I'll talk about that later. But yeah, there's two bills to address tomorrow. One we want a yes vote on, actually, and then the other we want no. The emergency COVID bill, so like the emergency COVID relief bill, is the one we want them to say no to, because it's really inflated and it gives the governor more power to enable the lockdowns.
Like she can have any more power than she already does. She already has all the power.
It also gives her more money to play with. And I heard something interesting, that it spends more money from our savings account when we have plenty in the checking account. And I talked about that with my rep. She didn't see that, but it also encourages government dependency through dishonest unemployment scheme, and supposedly allows for a Planned Parenthood bailout. Now, when Natalie Figueroa, who's my representative, called me back, oh my gosh, I've been calling legislators for years, and I even told her this too. I'm like, you are the first one who's called me back. So props to you. I respect you for that, whatever we may disagree on or not see eye to eye on. Thank you. And she thought it was cool that we had the same first name. I'm like, heck yeah, it's all in the name.
I guess that's an open anyway.
Yeah, I was open. So I got to actually talk with her for like 30, 40 minutes. It was great. And she heard me out. She didn't agree with me on everything, but she heard me out. You betcha I took advantage of the time. I was really appreciative of her time and respectful. You know, we don't need to be rude to our representatives.
Well,
But I
being
was also
rude
really
just gets them
firm.
on defense, and then they don't,
Right.
talk. So that doesn't
But I
help.
was I was also really firm on why I believed what I believed. Told her, "Hey, I'm a small business owner." She's like, "Oh, great!" And then I told her, "And I represent. I speak for 4 voting constituents." And that's a very important thing, everybody, that you got to make sure you do. So for wives, husbands, if you have voting age children, get their permission first. Make sure y'all are on the same page. And that way, when you call them, you can say, hey, I speak for 2 or 3 voting constituents who all
Yeah.
voted in the last election and plan to vote in future elections. Very important that you say that. In fact, when I said that, she wrote it down. She wrote down how many people I represent. Because see, here's the thing that I learned a long time ago is when representatives get a call from you, you don't just represent yourself. So few people bother to call their representatives that one person, one phone call, one email, one contact can very well represent hundreds.
Did you tell her you co-host a radio show by any chance?
No, I didn't get to. Didn't get to. I was so shocked that she called me back that I was scrambling for my computer, then discovered my children did something weird to my computer. It's like half my stuff doesn't work anymore. And I'm like, yeah, I need to get to my notes. But I finally got to my notes with her. So she actually had the emergency COVID relief bill in her hands, and she actually read down it section by section with me on the phone, which I really appreciated. She was happy to do that. And she said she didn't see anything about Planned Parenthood in there, that they weren't named in the bill. However, and I find it interesting that she jumped to this assumption. She said, unless they're planning on requesting small business relief, which they shouldn't. She said, and I agreed with her. I'm like, yeah, no, they shouldn't. They're
No,
not a
what they
small
need to do is
business.
end the lockdown is what they need to do and let businesses get back to work.
Right. So she went down there with me. She didn't think that Planned Parenthood would be able to take advantage of any of the CARES Act funds, and that was a big thing too. I asked her, where is the money coming from for this like $300 billion thing? And apparently over 100, what was it, 120 or 130 was coming from the federal government from our CARES Act allotment that hadn't been spent out yet. So she admitted that to me. She read it off in there herself, that that's where all the small business money is going to be coming from, you know, for the small business relief, was from that CARES Act that was passed in what, May? April or May, I think. Yeah, I think it was May, beginning of May. So that's where that was coming from. And I specifically told her, okay, look, I have no problem with us using federal dollars, because she even said, she's like, well, the thing is about these federal dollars is we have a deadline to spend them. Otherwise, we have to give them back to the government, which is why, and she didn't say this, I'm saying this, and I didn't tell her this because I didn't want to argue with her on it. That's why they're trying to push so much stuff through with this emergency COVID bill, because they feel like putting all this CARES Act money in there is going to give people the urgency to say, well, okay, we got to pass the whole thing. So what I told her is, I told her, look, I am totally behind giving the CARES Act money from the federal government to the small businesses in New Mexico. God knows we need it. We're dying. However, I told her, I don't like anything else in the bill. So I would be all for if you could excise that one section and do the CARES Act money a la carte for small businesses. I would be all for that. But if you can't do it, then I'm for none of that, because I don't think that the cost is worth it for whatever else is in the bill. Um, and you know, she didn't quite agree with me, but she's like, okay, well, I understand where you're coming from. And I told her, we had a good conversation. I told her, look, I know other businesses who've gone under, businesses who are currently going under, and businesses who are on the edge, and people who may not very well be able to afford their mortgage next month. Maybe they couldn't afford their mortgage this month, and now they're looking at not even being able to afford Thanksgiving food for their families. You know, I know
If they can get into the store to buy it.
right, right. And I was very, I was polite about it, but I was very firm on, look, we feel like this governor has had she's gone way too far over the line with all her public health ordinances. I even quoted her, what was it, like section 12-10-2. Thank you to the guy who calls in with statutory code numbers
Yeah.
on Saturdays. And I gave her that statutory code number. I'm like, according to that, she's overstepping her bounds. She's overstepping our state constitution, never mind our federal constitution. So, and of course, she didn't quite see eye to eye with me on that. But like I told her, I'm like,
Of
okay,
course
so
not.
look,
She's a Democrat.
yeah, but you know, at least at the very least, she heard me out. And then I told her about the other bill that may come up, the emergency powers bill. And she said, oh, I had not heard of that. I told her, yes, it's supposed to restrain the governor's power via the legislature, since Supreme Court won't, and try to bring us back to an even keel, especially businesses. So I told her, you know, look, so the 4 constituents that I represent, we would like you to vote no on the emergency COVID relief bill unless you can excise just the CARES Act money for the businesses. Then we would support just that a la carte. And then say yes to the emergency powers bill. Please do not give this governor any more power. We are dying. Our livelihood and our lives are going down the tubes.
And what did she say about that?
She's like, well, you know, understand, I'm a high school teacher too, and I'd rather be with my high school students, and of course I miss them, but you know, I want them to be safe, and I want the teachers to be safe, and the kids' parents not to die. So then I got a little bit into the numbers with her, and this was very interesting. So I told her, okay, so I'm a numbers person, and I told her I've been following the numbers pretty much on a daily basis since this whole thing started. Do you know where New Mexico ranks for the most part in the nation? And she admitted to me, and I respect that she admitted this. She's like, well, no, honestly, haven't really been paying attention to the national numbers. So I got to educate her that we are
Oh, very
some of the
good.
lowest. And if you take out our 2 counties that have the highest percentage of Native Americans, which also results in the highest number of deaths and cases, that if you take those 2 counties out of New Mexico, we are the bottom, like even below Puerto Rico. So she was stunned at that information. I could tell she didn't know quite what to think about that. But I told her, look, we are locked down harder than California or New York. And then she was like, well, but our numbers lately are way worse than they were in June or May or at the beginning of
No,
this. And
they're
I
not.
told
That's
her,
BS.
hang on. I agreed with her insofar as if you look at our total numbers, because that's kind of what they're doing. I told her, if you look at our totals, yes, they are more than previous months because it's a running total. However, if you look at the data on a rolling 2-week to 2-week to 2-week basis, we are nowhere near where we started at the beginning of this pandemic. And then I told her, and if the CDC would rate this pandemic per their guidelines that were in effect for pandemics their definition for pandemics at the beginning of 2020, the pandemic should have been over at the end of May. And she was kind of stunned at that news too. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together some stuff and email it to her just to kind of follow up, thank her for speaking with me, and I tell her I just want to back up some of the numbers that I quoted you over the phone. Here's the data. And send her some good pictures along with that too, and some graphs. But this is all to say, look, you guys, when you're making phone calls, make phone calls, leave your callback number if you want to call back. You never know when you might have an opportunity to educate one of your representatives. I didn't expect this. Thankfully, I was prepared for it.
Well,
And
who
yeah,
knows?
like I said, I was
Maybe what you
scrambling.
will make a difference.
Yeah, I was scrambling on my computer for, pulling up all the numbers and stuff and this and that. But yeah, reach out to your legislators. I challenged them on Facebook today, extra points if you can call all the New Mexico legislators. And right now, the switchboard has turned off the offices, at least today anyway, at the Capitol for most of the legislators. So they're not able to take any messages. So I've been calling them at their home and work and cell phone numbers. Whatever they list on nmledges.gov is what I have been calling, which is sometimes home and work and cell phone numbers. And lo and behold, one called me back, which is awesome. But
That
yeah,
is
that can
awesome.
happen. Don't be afraid to call them if it's listed as a home number. I know some people are squeamish about calling home numbers. Don't. They list it there. It's publicly available. It's there on purpose because they're comfortable with being called at that number. Otherwise, they wouldn't list it on the website.
Right.
So call your legislators tomorrow. If you all aren't coming up, or even if you are coming up, if you're a passenger, you've got a hands-free set and you're driving up on the way to Santa Fe, make some calls. And I know I listed some other numbers on the Liberty Ladies Facebook page as well that you can call. The idea is to just absolutely inundate their phone lines so that it is impossible for them to deny that New Mexicans feel strongly about these bills. So, no, we don't want a bloated emergency COVID relief package. We don't need it. And I couldn't stress this to Natalie Figueroa strongly enough. I'm like, I don't want state handouts. I would rather not have to get a loan for my business. I just want to go back to work. And I reminded her, I'm like, look, never in history, I'm a real student of history and I've been reading a lot more history. Never before have we quarantined the well. We always quarantine the sick and those who are at highest risk, and that's great. And I even told her, hey, my mom has cancer. But my mom has also had years of practice in quarantining herself, taking care of herself, making sure she's not around people who are sick or letting people know she can't be around you if you're sick. She's done that for years. She can take care of herself and we help as well. But the rest of us, we need to get back to work. Because I kept telling her, we're dying. Our businesses are dying. I know people who've had suicides among, especially after she told me she was a high school teacher, high school students, kids, parents committing suicide. Our suicide rates are skyrocketing. So, yeah, needless to say, I can talk. I really, really took advantage of that time with her. And I'm going to take advantage of continuing the relationship. Follow up with an email, follow up with some phone calls this week to her to see, hey, how things are going. Have you seen that second bill that I told you about the other day? Do you have time to go over it with me? Things like that. So as soon as they give you an opening, if anyone else gets a call from one of their legislators, take that opening, be kind, be respectful, but be firm, and don't be afraid to really state your opinion and what your experience is, because They are elected officials, and you represent so much more than just you and your household.
Yeah. Good job, Natalie.
That's my rant.
It's great. I'm impressed.
No, honestly, if we didn't do all the stuff we did, I would not have been as prepared
Right.
as I was now.
We tend to learn so much with what you and I do. We're constantly researching things. I researched this Lin Wood thing, and I think basically Lin Wood, he just kind of ran his mouth, and of course it gets twisted. What he said, and I got the quote here, is that lawyer stated in a tweet that Georgia Senators David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler did not deserve the backing of voters in the forthcoming special election until they started to demand action for apparently voter fraud in the state of Georgia. That's what he said. So what a liberal like Darren White do?
Yep.
He says
he's saying you shouldn't vote for them.
Lin Wood is telling Republicans that they shouldn't show up for the runoff.
Come on, Darren White. You're not that stupid.
You know, I listened today to Darren White for the first 15 minutes. I mean, it just about made me throw up in my mouth listening, you know, but
yeah, I can't.
Like, okay, I force myself to listen because I don't want to be one of those people that says, "Oh, Darren White's a liberal scumbag" or something like that without actually having listened. It's like these people that talk all this crap about Trump and never went to a single Trump rally or watched a single Trump speech. Okay, so I tuned in today. I thought, okay, I'm going to listen to him. And of course, it starts off the show how he's such a conservative Republican, and he's a defender of freedom. Well, the first couple calls he gets are Trump haters.
Of course.
And
they're the only ones who listen to Darren White.
Yeah. And then then he says this Lin Wood thing where he twists this. Okay, yeah. What Lin Wood said is stupid. He shouldn't have done that. Okay, because he should have known better that the liberal media would take what he said and just twist it all around.
Right.
Okay, which is what Darren White did. Darren White is not a conservative Republican.
Well, I would almost bet you that what happened is that Darren White didn't even hear or read the original quote. He read or heard a headline from MSDNC or the Communist News Network.
Yeah, and it took me like 5 minutes to look this up, and I found the article on the Daily Mail, and they stated they showed the quote from Lin Wood. Okay, so it wasn't hard for me to find. And you know,
would you click that link? Sorry, would you pop that link into the comments on our video too?
Let's see.
That way everyone else can grab it, and then I can grab it and I can stick it. Because I try any links that we refer to, I try really hard, just so y'all know, when I put this up on YouTube and Rumble, to put any links that we referenced in the description. And then if you all listen to our live show on radio on the Rock of Talk in the KIVA on Saturdays, 1 to 5 p.m. When we put them up on rockoftalk.chat, you can re-listen to our shows, and I have fully annotated all of our shows. And I have almost all the links, I think, that we discuss or that we refer to, or even that people send or give to us during the show. So we're really big. Again, we say this all the time, and it can't be underscored enough. We're really big on don't take our word for it. Don't.
Right.
Go see for yourself. So we try to provide links
that link into the chat.
Yes, awesome. Thank you.
So anyway, so I've listened to Darren White, and by the way, I think we're going to roast Darren White on Saturday because
yes,
he's gonna be the one. I think we need to roast a liberal talk show host every single week. This coming week,
Eddie will love us for that.
Yeah, this week we're going to roast Darren White. Okay, So let me tell you a little bit about Darren White. Okay, today, and I listened for 15 minutes, and it was all I could handle. Okay, because I heard so much crap in 15 minutes. I was overwhelmed. Two callers call in. Of course, they're bashing Trump, and then another guy, and of course, Darren White's not even pushing back on him at all on this. And then one guy calls in about some gym in town that's resisting, and they're staying open, and they're pushing back, and they're not complying. And Darren White just like goes along with like, this guy's snitching on this gym, and Darren White's just going along with it. Oh, I guess, Darren White, you really do believe in freedom, don't you? Otherwise, you would have pushed back on this guy. You and I certainly would have. We said, oh, you should be ashamed of yourself, is what you should. This guy is trying to make a living, and he is pushing back against this tyranny, and good for him. Good. So that was my little, and I'm going to probably try to absorb just a little bit more of this over the week. And then Saturday, maybe you can too. I can only stomach so much of that guy.
Right.
Claims to be a conservative Republican that believes in freedom. BS.
Yeah. Every now and again, I try to listen to him or Eric Strauss or.
Oh, and another thing too, interesting thing about Darren White, and Mark was actually doing a little bit of research about this too. And I told him, I said, Mark, you dig up this information, email it to libertyladiesunite@gmail.com, and that way we got the info. So he did post something on our email, so you might want to check it out. But apparently, Darren White, when he was a sheriff, he was involved in busting people for drugs and marijuana and all this other stuff. Well, what's he do when he's not a sheriff anymore? Well, now he owns a marijuana business.
Oh, really? What? Seriously?
Really? So I want to dig into more details on that because I find that really interesting. The guy's such a hypocrite. So when he was sheriff, he helped put the competition out of business, and then when he not sheriff anymore, then he goes into business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he learned where the money is while he was sheriff.
You think? I guess so. Yeah, I just guess you tend to learn all about the connections and the people involved and all that stuff when you're sheriff. I used to when I was a teenager, I grew up in a small town, and I used to hear stories all the time about the local police. Our local police department only had limited amounts of authority, and they actually didn't even have the authority to write a speeding ticket.
What?
So we used to screw with them all the time. We would race around town, and they'd be chasing us, and we'd elude them and run away, and because they couldn't write us a ticket.
Wow.
Like Dukes of Hazzard, So I've been thinking about something that's just kind of been chewing at me the past couple of days. I'm certain that you would probably want to add to this too. I got to thinking about my experience a few weeks ago at the Costco. And my video that went viral. Needless to say, I unshared it publicly because I just got tired of the nonsense. It's still up, but it's only up for people that are on my friend list.
You should put it on our Liberty Ladies Unite page.
Maybe.
Because you know what? I don't care if we get hate on that page. It's driving up our reach.
That's true. I literally got hundreds of hates on that. Yeah. But here's the point I want to make. Okay, I am out there pushing back to protect our freedoms as American citizens. Not just mine, but everybody. So here I'm in this Costco, okay, and they literally surrounded me, like 4 of them surrounded me, and they weren't going to let me shop, and they weren't going to let me pay for whatever I got. And then ultimately I made a scene and I canceled my membership and got a refund. But the thing is, the whole time I am there making a scene, pushing back, talking about how this is unconstitutional and you're violating my personal liberty, there's all these sheeple wandering around with their faceless, I'm going to call them faceless sheeple, because they all look the same. They're wearing a mask. They haven't, their identity is gone. They're wearing a mask. Here I am standing up and I am fighting back, and not a single one of these people came to join me. Here I made the open. I did the hard part. All they had to do is come make a stand with me or say something. But no, they didn't. And the saying that I say now at the end of our shows on our radio broadcast on here, that it is not right. It is. I say resistance is not futile.
Yep.
Okay. Now, for those of you that are Star Trek fans, you probably have an idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah. But for those of you that aren't Star Trek fans, let me explain this a little bit. Okay. Resistance is futile. Okay. That's something that is on Star Trek. And it is said by this basically large alliance of these
Borg.
Okay. They're cybernetic life forms. They're basically what the Borg is. It's a collective consciousness. It's basically mindless drones that follow the will of the collective. And they'll go from planet to planet, and they'll assimilate people, and they'll take away their personal identity, take away their free will, and then transform them into a Borg, and they become part of the collective, and they no longer have any thoughts of their own.
Yeah.
So people in this country are becoming like the Borg.
Like the Borg, yeah.
They're mindlessly doing what they're told. They are sacrificing their free will, and they're not thinking for themselves anymore. Yeah. Now, Natalie and I are out here, we're trying to spread the truth, and we're trying to educate people. It's up to you to go out and do the same thing we're doing when you're out. You need to resist in any way that you can. If you see, like today when I was in line at the Walmart, speaking up, and I was talking about, and the lady that was in front of me, she said, "I'm with you." She agreed with me. And we ended up getting into a great conversation. And I was saying something like, what we all should do is just screw this line and walk into the store, all of us. And she said, "I'm with you."
Wow. This brings up a really interesting dynamic. I
heard it assaulted like this in the Costco too.
Yeah.
Nobody came to join with you, did they? Here you opened the door and they just acted like mindless drones.
And I had little children with me too. No, instead some people verbally assaulted us, some started filming us, whatever. Yeah. But the interesting thing is there's actually a dichotomy here. So number one, when you are under assault and you are standing up for yourself, if people see that you are outnumbered, they tend to shy away from that because they don't want to be put on the spot either, and it looks like you're fighting a losing battle. However, when you're in line with them, you're not being attacked, they will be more likely to agree with you. And there's an interesting phenomenon that I first heard from Dan Bongino, and I forget where he gets it from, but it's the analogy of a dance. How, sometimes, people go to weddings, people go to parties, etc., and then someone starts playing music, and the first person who gets up to dance, and there's actually apparently a video that he he shows along with this. The first person who gets up to dance kind of gets laughed at and mocked. But it's not the first person who dances that gets other people to join in.
It's the second
It's
person.
the second person.
Exactly.
As soon as a second person gets up to dance, and as a Christian, I believe this goes back to whenever two or more are gathered in my name, there am I, says God.
Right.
There is power in two people or more together. And so once a second person
see the logic
starts,
in that now.
yeah, once a second person starts to dance, boom, the floor gets flooded. All people start coming on in 2s, 3s, 10s, 20s, and soon everyone's dancing. The video that you shared with me earlier, was it New Jersey?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was New Jersey.
Good for them.
So a bunch of business owners in New Jersey were gathered on the private property owned apparently by one of the owners. And they were, discussing, what they were going to do apparently. And then this public health official from the state
And a couple
comes
of calls.
in to try to find them or break them up. And the sheriff is there. And all the business owners are together and they're backing each other up, and they outnumber the sheriff and the public health official.
Right, they say, come back with a warrant, otherwise I want you out of here now.
But first, one of them had the bright idea to say to the public health official, you're trespassing. This is private property. You're not wanted here. Get off my property. And then everyone starts going to the sheriff. Yeah, they're trespassing.
You're out of here.
Do your job. You're here. You're the sheriff. Do your job. She's trespassing. So the public health official makes like she's going to try to find them, and the sheriff is like, "Ma'am, you're going to have to leave."
Yeah.
What?
Because he's doing
his job. You're
job.
now trespassing. They're right. It is private property. You are going to have to leave.
Yeah.
And as soon as the sheriff made that concession, then they were like, and we want you guys gone too. There's been no violation here. If you're gonna say that there's alleged wrongdoing, then come back with a warrant. Come back with a warrant. Go to a judge first and get a warrant. Come back with a warrant. But until then, you all are trespassing. Get off our property. And basically, they not really pushed, but influenced them all out the door. The entire group of small business owners, and walked them out through the parking lot into their cars and off the property. And it was
we all need to do that.
It was amazing, but it underscores the power of numbers. Yeah. Do you think that the sheriffs there, and there were I think 3 of them, 3 or 4, plus the public health official, would have taken it seriously if it was just one business owner?
Yeah.
Now, maybe if the owner's like, nope, this is my private property, maybe, okay, they would have told the health official, yeah, okay, you got to leave. But they were a lot less likely to comply. Oh, and someone had the bright idea on the way out the door. This is finally what got the sheriffs moving. They're like, this is a protest. We are peaceful protesters, so y'all police gotta leave.
Yeah.
We're a BLM protest. And this is our property. We're not even looting or damaging it.
I know. Yeah.
So the other thing too is, here's where I was going with this. We've talked before about possibly getting like some shop-ins started.
We still need to do that.
We need to, because here's the thing. And by the way, you all, if you ever see someone without a mask, and I know it happens so rarely, but without a mask and they're geting hassled, it happened to me last week in
I would definitely come to their
in Wyoming. I got followed as soon as I was in the door, the guy's like, let me take your temperature. I'm like, nope, I do not consent. And nope, I don't need a mask, medical reasons. I got followed by him and a brunette manager all throughout the store. And then I knew better than to try to have someone check me out. I went straight to self-checkout. One manager turned off the first checkout stand that I was at, locked me out. So I went to another one, and the other associate, he's over 6 feet tall, invades my personal space, reaches across my torso with his badge, and swipes it across the scanner to end my transaction. At which point, I yell out so that everybody can hear me, "I'm just trying to get milk for my babies!" And I looked at him like, "Come on, really now?" And I even showed him my WIC card. I'm like, "This is a women and infants children card. That's right. I don't just have a health condition. I'm poor. Are you going to not deny poor babies their milk? Seriously now?" And I shoved past him, went to a third stand. Everyone left me alone. I got my milk and I got the hell out of there.
See, that's what we all have to do. We have to speak up. We have to push back. And if you see somebody, if you see another person in a store that you're in and you see them
come
under
to their
attack,
defense.
come join them.
Join them. Take off your mask. Come join them. Say, "You know what? I'm kind of with them. I am with them.
That's the
You
only
shouldn't
way
be harassing this poor family. Yeah, you shouldn't be harassing this woman, this old man, this veteran, whomever it is. You shouldn't be harassing them. They're just trying to get food and groceries. Are you gonna be responsible for them starving? Oh yeah, I think we need to report that to the DOJ.
I can tell you, if I ever witness this when I am somewhere, you know me, I'm going to come to their defense. And then they're going to deal with two people.
Maybe we should start some scheduled mask-free shopping hours where we pick a store. And let's make sure it's a big box store, you all.
Yeah.
Because, the small businesses, the few times that someone's really asked me, they're like, "Okay, look, I know it's stupid, but could you please, we know that they're watching us and we don't want to be reported and then have them push mandatory testing on us." I'm like, "Okay, fine, I'll put a scarf across my face. I'll do that." But that's happened like once. That's it.
I won't do that.
No, we don't want to get the small businesses in trouble, but the big box stores that are edging out our small businesses. Oh, and by the way, a lot of these big box stores, they're donating things to leftist causes anyway. That's really who you want to give your money to? Okay. But yeah, no, we should totally do a shopping.
For those, what these big corporations are doing is they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
What they're doing is they want to push all the small businesses out. Mm-hmm. They want to have all the business, all the control, and they know the corrupt Democrats are the way that they can get that.
Yeah.
And they don't give a crap about your freedom or anything else. All they care about is making more money.
Well, I had the idea that if we say set like a 10-minute, 15-minute window, or say we'll start the maskless, mask-free shopping experience ourselves.
By the way, Natalie, Christine Brown just texted us and said that her and her husband will definitely join us.
Sweet. Well, what we need to do is we need to set a starting time.
Yes.
And then do this on your comfort level. So if you don't feel comfortable walking into the store and inciting a confrontation right away, I have no problem doing that.
I don't either.
Yeah, but not everyone does. That's okay. Walk in with a scarf over your face or your mask or your whatever, and then just pull it down in the course of shopping. And then some of us will, make a big stink at the door if we need to and just bowl on in. And if we're in a store that has self-checkout, again, if you're not comfortable making a scene with a cashier, I have no problem doing that.
I don't either.
Yeah, but if you do, or if you have a problem with that, then that's okay. You don't have to go to the self-checkout line and just realize there's
Andrew on our text said that he will also join us.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. I love it. I love it.
What we need to do is we need to organize this, and you guys need to watch our Liberty Ladies website, and we will post in advance a day and time and place.
Or better yet, for those of you who are comfortable, private message us your phone numbers.
Good idea.
Because I do not want Facebook to get wind of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that instead. So those of you who want to join in on the mask-free shopping experience that we're going to claim, because don't wait for permission, people. That's the thing. I don't wait for permission.
No.
And yeah, I get called a lot of nasty names and get a lot of looks, and I'm just like, stay 6 feet away. Fine, thank you. I prefer it. But we need to stop asking for permission to be human. Like, I'm
You don't
sorry.
need permission.
I'm human. I need to breathe oxygen just like anyone else, and I don't need your permission. I'm going to breathe clean air. I'm going to breathe fresh air. I'm not going to rebreathe my own germs, especially during flu season. But when we go to these stores, yeah, you have options. So I'm thinking the first store probably needs to be like a Smith's, where they have some self-checkouts. And keep in mind, and this is what I realized the other day at Smith's, was they would have to shut down all of their dozen or 15 self-checkout stands to stop me from buying my food.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I will put that to the test. Know how far you are willing to go, and know that they may not be willing to go that far. Now, we might find out differently, who knows? But, by the third checkout stand, everyone just left me alone and just wanted me out of there, and I was happy to get out of there.
And this
So
is
yeah,
the
you got
thing,
options.
This is the thing that you all need to keep in mind. Okay, this is what I always keep in my mind all the time. You are not doing anything wrong. You are not breaking any laws. Okay, if anybody's breaking a law, they are. Okay, you are not breaking any laws. So what we need to do, because what is happening to our society, which really, really worries me, is this stuff is getting normalized. We do not want it to get normalized. We need to join together. We need to push back. We need to get other people to join us, and we need to not allow this to get, not allow it to get normalized.
Yeah.
You don't want to live in this kind of world indefinitely. You do not.
Yeah. Push back. And then the other thing that I want to do too is I want to organize so that anyone who gets pushback or abuse from managers, employees, or other customers and gets verbally abused, and this is why it's important that, you know what, you all, if you private message us your email address and your phone numbers.
Yeah.
Because there's some documents that we want to make available to you in advance, so that you will have the ability there if you feel like you're being discriminated against. And I don't care whether you're like, yeah, it's my constitutional right, or if you want to cite a medical reason, or if you want to cite religious reason. Now, I can't wear a mask on religious grounds. Are you discriminating against my religion? But I want to prepare you all, and we want to send you some documents so that if you're one of those people like us that's like, okay, you know what, I'm willing to take this all the way. Cool. Print out these documents, and we'll give you a notice of discrimination. It is an actual affidavit that you can fill out. You can either start filling it out there in the store. I've done that. Or you can go outside your car, fill it out, and then go back in and say, hey, you've been served with an affidavit. Yeah. So, because the other thing too is, we'll probably, if we do this, we'll probably have some DOJ complaints to make for ADA violation or religious violation or what have you. That's fine. The stores need to feel finally that there is going to be real pain and real pushback if they keep infringing upon our constitutional rights. And we need to do this in numbers. We don't necessarily need to say hi to each other and have a huge conversation, but can you imagine, even in a store as big as one of those big Smiths or a super Walmart, if 20 people went in and at various stages we just all remove our masks and we're shopping around. And I think maybe we need to make a commitment to like shop for at least a 10-minute minimum.
Well, I went to my Walmart, the Walmart I go to.
Yeah, Ned Wood.
Yeah, they will ask you if you want a mask when you walk in the door.
Yep.
And I just say, no, thank you. And I just walk, and they're okay with that. Okay. They've done what they're required to do. They've asked you if you need a mask. That's all they're required to do.
And they'll provide it if you really want one.
But I say, no, thank you. And I just go on in. Okay. Yeah. So a lot of people, it's like they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble. It's like,
Yeah.
No, you're not going to get in trouble. What are you going to get in trouble for? Aren't you an adult? Okay. Remember that you're an adult. Do you need permission? No, you don't. You're not doing anything wrong.
You do not.
You don't need permission.
No.
So, today I had a job scheduled, and for you guys may not know what kind of work I do besides radio work and stuff like that now, but I'm also an electronics engineer, and I do field service work. I work on networks and phone systems and camera systems and all that kind of stuff. So I had a job scheduled this morning at a post office in Santa Fe. And I get up there, and of course, there's all the sheeple lined up going in there. And the reason I'm calling them sheeple is because they all look the same to me. So their faces are all covered. So I walk in there, and they're like, "Oh my God, everybody's looking at." And some woman even spoke up and, "You really need to be wearing a mask." And it's like I just rolled my eyes and just didn't say a word to her and just walked on by. And then I talked to the supervisor. I said, "Well, I'm here to do this work," and I showed them on my work order what I was there to do. And they said, "Well, you have to wear a mask." I said, "Well, sorry, I'm not going to wear a mask." And I'm serious about this, people. I have lost so much work this year because I will not bow down to this. I'm not going to accept this as any kind of normal, because it is not normal. Far from it. It is wrong. And so ultimately, they wouldn't let me do the work. So I said, "Fine, see ya." Walked out. Okay. That cost me $140. But
oh wow.
Anyway, so I called up the company that I was there to do the work for, and I talked to the dispatcher there, and I told her, I said, "Yeah, they won't let me in to do the work because I won't wear a mask." And I said, "I'm not ever going to wear a mask, period, ever, even if I have to sacrifice my livelihood to do it. I'm not gonna give in, period." And she said, "Good for you." She said, "I agree with you." And we ended up having a long conversation. I was talking to her about our radio show, and we talked about a lot of other stuff. And I even made her laugh when I was telling her about the Borg story. And I had her cracking up. And she said, "God, you've made me really laugh today." And I said, "Well," I said, "at least something good came out of this day. Unfortunately, I didn't make any money." And but I made a new friend, and she completely agreed with me, and that was it. So I think you people got to decide: do you want to give up your freedom? Do you want to give up your country for a few bucks now, in which your life is going to totally suck later on if you let our country go down the tubes?
Well, Christine says she's with us. It's kind of scary. And yes, it is kind of scary, Christine. Props.
It is, but trust me, after you do it a couple of times, it's you get empowered, and it's like, trust me.
It's like going down a roller coaster. There's always people on the roller coaster who are like, and I figured out a long time ago that instead of backing away from the dive as soon as you go off the deep end, if you lean into the roller coaster with your eyes wide open and take a deep breath, holy moly, your entire perspective changes.
It does.
You do that too?
Yeah. It's exciting.
I've never met anyone else who does that.
Well, I mean, I don't ride roller coasters, but other things that I do that are scary, it's the same way. Well, as you know, I'm a pilot.
Lean into it.
Okay. And it's like, I'm a pilot too. And it's like, if it's been a long time since I've flown an airplane, I'll be sitting there at the controls, and I'll have the engine running, and I'm at the runway, and I'm about ready to do my takeoff. And it's like, I get this anxiety. I'm afraid.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's like, no, I just pushed through that. And I'm thinking, no, this is going to be awesome once I get get past this little bit of anxiety. So I throttle up and down the runway I go. And then once I'm in the air a couple minutes, like, oh, wow, this is great.
Yep. It's the same thing speaking in front of people. It's the same thing before I go on and dance and solo, which of course I haven't done in a few months. Andrew, by the way, says that he's part deaf, wears hearing aids, needs to read lips.
Oh my God, you need to tell him your funny story about acting like you're deaf. You got to tell him.
I gave him a little hint of it. Yeah. So at what was it? Papa Murphy, one of the Papa Murphys. There's this girl there who thinks she's the mask Nazi. None of the other employees or cashiers ever hassle me, but she does.
Oh, there's always somebody on a power trip.
Yeah. So finally one day I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking to me? Yeah, I waited till she started moving her hands and waving at me, and I'm like, sorry, I'm part deaf. I can't understand you. I read lips. So then she starts doing like sign stuff, and I'm like, if you're doing ASL at me, I don't ASL very well. I'm like, I know please and thank you and like that, but and she just kind of looks at me like, what? And of course she's saying, really? You don't know ASL? And I'm like, yeah, like, I hate to have to explain this, but, you know, late onset condition, I read lips mainly. So if you could take your mask off, we can have a conversation. And no, she didn't take her mask off. Yeah. Instead, she starts writing on a piece of paper for me, everyone has to wear a mask. And I'm like, oh, and if you're writing a note about me having to wear a mask, thanks, but no thanks. Again, due to that late onset adult condition, I'm exempt from wearing a mask. And she just glared at me. I mean, man, if looks could kill, I'd have been sizzling at that point. So I'm just like, and I do this thing too where, you know, I end every sentence with 4 pizzas under Jonathan, 4 pizzas under Jonathan. Oh, can we add cookie dough to that? Thanks.
and in a way, that's kind of what I usually do when people are trying to push a mask on me. I just ignore them. It's like, you don't exist. And that in my mind, I'm just thinking this person doesn't exist. And really, in a way, they don't, because they're all wearing masks and they're all just blank faces. So it's like, I don't even think of them as human anymore. It's like,
go back in time to pre-Wu flu and think about it. Would anyone respect someone else who came up to them with a bandana or a mask or something on their face and started striking up a conversation? No. You'd be like,
what, are you going to mug me or what?
Who are you? Why are you wearing a mask and why are you talking to me?
And that thought is not
polite to talk to people. Yeah, it's not polite to talk to people with a mask on your face, and you can't hear what they're saying half the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm totally with you there, Andrew. I do actually have a friend who is mostly deaf, and she reads lips so well that for years I didn't even know that she was mostly hearing impaired. Yeah, she reads lips that well.
So Andrew, what I would do if I were you is I would just work that to its fullest.
Yeah, work that to its fullest. Tell people, hey, sorry, either I got to get close to you so you can talk into my hearing aid.
It's so hard for them.
Or you need to take the mask off. And you're behind plexiglass, damn it. Take the mask off.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't understand you.
Why cannot everybody see the insanity of all this?
Yeah, it is. It's absolutely insane. And we need to push back and start being like, no, you all are insane. We're just fine. So leave me alone.
We're the normal one.
What I want. Just leave me alone.
Yeah.
No more. So yeah, we will get something scheduled for a mask-free session. Ooh, that'd be so exciting.
We have a lot of other people I think we can organize together to do this too.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, at other stores, I can't tell you how many times I walk by people and their mask is hanging under their nose.
Yeah.
Sometimes on their chin.
Yeah.
Or the chin flap is loose so that they can breathe. And I'll admit the other day I went in with just a scarf over my head because I had to shop for my mom. And I really didn't want to be hassled going in the door, and I was ready to pull it up over my face, except there was no one at the front door. So I'm like, okay, in I go. And my scarf was just, beneath my chin the whole time. No one bothered me. No one stopped me. So, there's a lot more people out there that feel the same way, but we got to give them a reason to get up with us and dance. We got to give them a reason to go, oh,
we do.
Okay, I guess we are over it.
It's hard to be that first or second person. It's really, really hard to be that first person.
It is.
But, I don't have any problem with being that first person. I've already dove off that cliff, and now I just don't care anymore. And it's like these faceless people, I have no, I really just don't care what you think.
Maybe we're adrenaline junkies, because there's definitely a shot of adrenaline.
I know
there's adrenaline that goes with
it.
That's
why I fly airplanes and ride snowmobiles and ride dirt bikes. It's like, I like the excitement.
You're an adrenaline junkie. It's why I keep having babies. Hey, the adrenaline rush and the endorphins when you're giving birth, oh my God, there's nothing like them.
Boy, that's going to the extreme.
You'll have to take my word for it.
Yeah, Mark said he doesn't want to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mark, I guess.
So
you're absolved.
Since, why don't we talk a little bit about what we're thankful for, being as Thanksgiving is coming up in a few days.
Yes. Yes, that would be great.
And just a few things off the top of my head that I'm thinking of is like, despite the awfulness of what this awful, evil tyrant in Santa Fe has done to us this year, she has actually created a positive thing for me in the fact that, well, number one, I met you. And I met you because I became a protester. It's like, I never would have thought in a million years I'd be a protester and protest anything. I have pretty much just gone through my life, just living my life, doing my thing, and people staying out of my face. So I really had no reason to protest about anything. So went to these protests and these rallies and things like that, and met so many awesome people. I've met so many great people. Hey.
Hey, speaking of things that we're thankful for, here's some of my babies.
Yeah. You know what, Natalie? I was thinking about that today. You are probably the richest.
Oh, bring Pebble to me.
Natalie, you are probably the richest person I know.
I am. I really feel like I am. One thing that I'm not plagued with during this whole lockdown thing. Hey, Rory, go get the baby. Bring him to me, please. Whoa. Baby's here too. Is we're not lonely. There's so many of us that we're not lonely at all. My kiddos have friends who are only children, and they are having a super rough time. In fact, actually, there's a neighbor with an only child, and I think sometime in April, they finally texted us. They're like, hey, are you okay if DJ comes over and plays? We're like, yeah, sure. We're not locked down. Hey, baby.
By the way, thank you, Christine, for your comment.
Yes.
And we're thankful for friends like you, too.
These are my treasures. These are my preciouses.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm thankful for all the friends I've made at the rallies and things like that. And I met you. And as a result of that, I'm doing this really fun radio show with you. It's kind of a dream that I've had. I've always wanted to get into broadcasting. It's like, well, now I'm doing that too. And it's like, I'm having fun and I am reaching other people and hopefully helping empower some people, which is what our goal is. And another thing too is I feel like there's been a really huge spiritual awakening. Your sound seems to be gone. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I muted it when the baby was fussing.
So
habit.
There's been a spiritual awakening, and I think so many people have gotten so much closer to God and have gotten more involved in their churches and things like that. And we found out what churches really mean what they say. Because a lot of the weak churches have fallen away. Did I lose your sound again?
Yeah, sorry. That's why.
Off the top of my head, that's the things I'm thinking of that I'm really thankful for.
But we still serve. Oh, sorry. It's okay, baby. It's bedtime. They're precious, but they get loud at bedtime.
Yeah.
So come on, baby. We still serve at our home church, but we are really blessed to go to Legacy and to have that experience of normalcy. Just like we walk in and no masks and people
Right.
are just
everybody's just like they're being friendly to each other. They're being normal instead of all of this abnormal mental illness that appears to be spreading like a plague throughout our country.
And it's really tough on the children too. One of our children admitted to us that, at our other church where the nursery workers always wear masks, that kind of freaks the kids out. It kind of freaks them out a little bit. And they're like, yeah, we love going to Legacy because at least we can see all the the people's faces.
And if you're wearing a mask in church, what does that show for your faith in God?
Right.
Really?
It's like if anything, two places that should always be open in a crisis are hospitals and churches.
Yeah.
And this whole thing with the governor, she's probably going to try to push for more powers in the special session to be able to tell the hospitals whom they can't and can't save or can and can't administer to. Yeah, basically like death panels.
Right. Well, that's what
she's already. This is a situation of her own making, because New Mexico is not nearly as bad as most of the United States, but she has truncated hospitals and limited them so severely that now she's like, oh, they're overcrowded. Well, the only reason they're overcrowded is because you told them they could only operate at a partial capacity, and now you're not even allowing them to create more ICU beds when they need them. Yeah, they're going to be overcrowded.
Yeah.
By your standards, not by their normal standards. So you created this crisis, and now you're going to want death panels to ration care, when in reality, we have plenty of room with all the hospitals that we have in Albuquerque, Santa Fe, the rest of New Mexico. We've got plenty of room.
We do.
If you just let hospitals do their jobs.
Yeah. And everybody, the problems in New Mexico are not because of the Wu flu.
Mm-mm.
The problems in New Mexico are because of our governor. Okay. Yeah. The Wu flu, if the governor hadn't shut this state down, we would have been doing fine. There probably would have been herd immunity by now. And realistically, if you do catch it, which you may or may not, just like the regular flu that goes around every year, if you catch it, you have a 99.9% chance of recovering just fine.
And obviously those people who are at high risk, which is the 70s and up category, or people with comorbidities and immune deficiencies, you take care of those people. Sure, they stay home or deliver, or I'll shop for my mom when she's sick. I'll shop for her, my parents, or for friends or neighbors. And we have people can figure things out. We're not children.
No.
Heck, I have children. I take care of children on a regular basis, but there's a governor who's going to tell me, oh no, you need special direction on how to safeguard everybody. It's not my job to safeguard everybody. It is my job to look after the well-being of my family. And lest anyone forget, it's your right to price your own risk. As we've said before, in America, we don't just claim the freedom of pricing our risk. We do it on a daily basis, and we pay for it. Or what do you think that car payment and insurance payment is for? Yeah, it's to mitigate your risk, because yes, you could step into your car, drive down the road, and get hit by a semi. That's a risk. And you pay to be able to take that risk.
Just like the things that I do, the risky sports that I do. It's like riding a dirt bike. I mean, I could easily wipe out and break my
neck.
Dead. I could easily die riding snowmobiles. I could fall off a cliff without realizing it's there. There are all kinds of things. But you know, I'm taking responsibility for me. And in this country, that's all you're responsible for is you. And
if everyone looks after themselves and their own best interests, then as a whole, and we've seen this throughout history, society is just fine. And if everyone has the freedom to look after and work towards their own pursuit of happiness and their own self-interests, they are more likely to lend a helping hand to someone else, to give to charity, to donate to a good cause, etc., etc. In countries where so much is taken from people's paychecks and taxation, charity plummets. But in countries with less taxes, charity rises.
Well, just like Pastor Smotherman was talking about in his last sermon. The governor's been trying to shut him down. Okay, if the governor shuts him down, not only are people not going to be able to go in there and exercise their right to worship as they choose, but all the good things that the church does, like giving out free meals to a struggling family, all of that goes away. All of the community service that church offers is gone.
That church feeds elderly, like in the hundreds, and school children in the hundreds. They deliver food to children and their families on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
This is not your tax dollars at work. This is people's tithes and offerings that are going to feed actual New Mexicans.
And my preacher out in Baton Rouge that I like so much, what they do is he has a fleet of buses. Okay, he's always getting more buses. And what they do is they go out on Sunday morning, and they go out and travel miles and miles and miles and pick up children and people that need a ride to church. And when they bring them to Sunday school, they feed them breakfast. And they feed hundreds of people every week.
Yeah, wow.
And they do this not with government money. They do this with tithes and offerings. And they take that money and they give back to the community.
You know, it's so sad. Some of the seasonal charities that we just enjoy being a part of, we haven't been able to do this year. One of the main ones that I really love is by Prison Ministries. It's called Angel Tree, where each church takes on a certain number of children from families where one of their parents, sometimes both parents, are incarcerated. And the parents who are incarcerated sign their children up for the Angel Tree Ministries. And then you pick a child, or you can even pick an entire family of children. And we would normally, in years past, shop for gifts. We'd wrap the gifts and deliver them to the families. But this year, because of COVID restrictions and because the charity doesn't want to be shut down, you have to just give an online donation, and every child is just going to get a gift card this year. Just a gift. Like, how sad is that?
It's very sad.
We normally get, we normally get a child, an angel for every one of our children, and our children get to participate in picking out the gift. They were looking forward to that this year, and they can't. And then another thing too is in, I think it was Kentucky, or was it? No, it was Kansas City, Missouri. A school normally does Operation Christmas Child and encourages their students to pack shoe boxes with essentials and toys and school supplies
I did that
for
last
poor
year,
children.
and I packed a couple of shoe
Yep.
boxes for Samaritan's Purse.
Yep, that's Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this year in Kansas City, Missouri, someone in the faculty reported the school for violating the separation of church and state and got that shut down. Now, when I was reading the article, my understanding is that the people who normally helped facilitate the fundraiser in the school anyway still gave the students the option to participate, but they had to do it off of school property and completely separate. School.
There is so much evil at work in our country right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's horrible. Things that we normally would do to help bless others, it's so much harder to do. I mean, now that I can't really take my children in with me to stores sometimes the older ones want to come in, but especially lately this week, we've been like, no, the stores are going to try to stick to a 75 person limit. So, we really can't take any extra bodies in right now. And I think that's what the governor finally figured out, that instead of saying a 2-person per household limit or something such ridiculous, that she'd make put the stores on the hook for it. I think that's what was behind that. And kind of works.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing too is, even though I love taking my children with me everywhere because it gives other people a feeling of normalcy, and it puts so many smiles on people's faces to see children. But it is kind of traumatic for my little ones. When I was harassed in Costco, I had my little ones with me, and they were crying because there were these men in masks who were hounding us and following us and kept harassing mommy, and mommy had to argue with them. And even the baby, he was crying most of the time. So I don't want to traumatize my children too much, which is kind of sad because I enjoy shopping with them. But it's like, no. Plus, if anyone, and I've already had people put hands on my cart when I had children in my cart, and I'm sorry, you threaten my children or come anywhere near my children, and it's on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's on, so.
Well, like I was talking to this lady today at Walmart when I was there, and I said, I've had people say things to me, but luckily I've not had anybody literally get in my face.
Right.
That would be a huge mistake. Right. If you get in my face, you're going to get punched.
Yeah. Well, I have had some people get in my face. I've had 6-foot men break COVID distancing and get within 4 inches of me and my face.
See that? In my opinion, that's assault, and that is something that you should, as a woman especially, you could say, well, I felt threatened and I fought back.
Well, it's how we got out of a restraining order that one store pushed against us and filed against us. Is I'm like, really? Did you know your 6-foot client got within 4 inches of my face, a small black pregnant woman? Did they tell you that part?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell the judge.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be happy to tell the judge. And then I did tell the judge. And then he's like, okay, you all come to an agreement yourself. We don't need an injunction.
Yeah.
That was a great experience after the fact, got ironed out, etc. Yeah, y'all, when Rebecca and I say that we're willing to go all the way on this, we're not kidding.
No, we're not. No, I am not willing to let my country go down the tubes. I'm not willing to give up my freedom, and I'm not willing to accept any of this that's going on as normal.
And I'm not willing to let my freedoms slide for a little bit of peace.
Nope.
Because I know that what that means is that my freedoms are going to go down the tubes, and then my children aren't going to have any freedom.
And then they're going to be living in a world that you won't even recognize.
Yeah. And I want my children to have freedom.
Limited to 5.
So bad.
As it is.
I can't not. In the words of, what was it, Thomas Jefferson, we have counted the cost of this contest and find nothing so dreadful as voluntary slavery. Honor, justice, and humanity forbid us tamely to surrender that freedom which we received from our gallant ancestors, and which our innocent posterity have a right to receive from us. Our children have a right to receive the same liberty and freedoms from us. And if we don't safeguard our freedoms, if we don't claim them, if we don't take them back, then our kids there'll be nothing left for them.
No. And as it said, if you give up your liberty for a little bit of security, you will have
neither. Yeah. You get neither.
And I know people, I know it's tough. It's tough to get out there and push back. But like Natalie and I were saying, once you just get over that little bit of a initial hump, and you'll find it gets really, really easy.
Yeah.
And you know, the analogy I use, you know how the old thing goes where they'll say if you're having trouble with public speaking and you're looking out at the audience and you're nervous, and just imagine they're all naked. Well, now what I do when I look at people, I just look at them as faceless objects that aren't really people. It's like, why should I be afraid of these things? Because none of these people have faces. They're not real. And that's, in my mind, that's how I deal with it. And it's like, because I don't see faces, I don't see people anymore.
Right. And if you're not a person, then you don't have an opinion, you don't matter. And it's sad that we've gotten to that point, and that's kind of what this whole social engineering thing with the masks is supposed to do. It's supposed to get us to care less about each other. It's supposed to get us to interact less and less. And most people don't even meet other people's eyes anymore. It's sad. And Christine on Facebook asks, what's the best way to support others in refusing to wear masks in stores? More of us modeling freedom and good behavior by going maskless ourselves?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. And like I said, you can go through several stages of it. You can just kind of like, when no one's looking, pull it down under your nose. If no one bothers you, pull it down under your chin. I see a lot of people just let it fall or pull it down under their nose. And that's fine, little by little. But if you can get to the point where you're just like, nope, I'm mask free. Don't care. I'm not asking permission. I'm not stopping at the front to ask you if I can come in. I'm just going in. And if you're like, boop, 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 no thanks, bye.
That's what I do. I just make a beeline through the door. And if I hear a voice in the background saying, oh, you need to wear a mask, I didn't hear that. I just keep on walking.
They can't physically touch you, by the way.
No, they can't, because then that would be assault.
Assault. Yep. They can't touch you because that would be assault. And if they get in your way and they physically impede your progress and egress, then that is tantamount, let's say it's just a step below kidnapping. It's what's that phrase?
Unlawful detainment.
Yes.
Yeah, illegal detainment. So
Yeah.
they can't illegally detain you,
No, they can't.
and they
Even
cannot touch.
even if you were actually shoplifting the store, they can't.
Right. They can't.
So
Oh, and
it's
of
like
course,
if you're doing nothing illegal, how can
right.
they lawfully detain you?
Well, and I made this point to one of the people who, refused me service in Smith's by ending my transaction. And I told him, I'm like, you just refused my payment. Do you realize by city ordinance, I can walk out of here with all this milk and groceries because I offered to pay. In
And you
fact,
wouldn't
I've
take the
tried
money.
twice to pay. I've offered payment. So by city ordinance, actually, or it might actually be state law, you as a business have a right to refuse payment, but I still have a right to my groceries. And
Yeah.
technically, I could walk out of here. And I didn't. I just went ahead and paid again, tried a third time and finally paid. Well, one of the things I was thinking of, if we ever go to do this in Sprouts, and that's ultimately what I really
That's
want to
where I
do,
want to go.
is go to Sprouts.
Yeah.
They don't have self-checkouts. So here's how we handle that. Cash. Because they'll be like, no, we can't check you out. We can't check you out. We'll
Oh,
lose
well,
our
here
jobs.
you are. Keep the
I'd
change.
be like, okay, here's a 20. Hope that covers it. Bye.
Yeah.
Carry cash. Have some coins. If you really want to be a pissant to them, keep track of all your groceries on your calculator on your phone, and then, add up any tax for non-food items, and, have the exact change ready to go, and just, slap it down on the counter. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. You can't leave without paying. I did. It's all over there. You'll find the whole thing. I might have been off by about, 5 cents because I added an extra nickel just in case. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's how you handle it. And I've been ready lately with cash just in case. Who knows? Maybe one of these days they will shut off all 15 self-checkout stands on me, and I'll be like, okay, here's my 20. Bye.
Maybe what we need to
Nope,
do
you
is
can't arrest me. You can't call the cops on me. I tried to pay with my card. You wouldn't take it. So you know what? I left cash right there on the counter. There are witnesses because I did it in front of that manager, and I paid. So here I go.
Maybe what we need to do is we need to set up something to where we can have like a buddy system where if somebody wants to get out and they want to, they're not brave enough to do it on their own, but there are those of us that really have just gotten past that point where we just don't care anymore. It's like, I will go with you. You call me. I will go shopping with you.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
I will go with you. I will take the lead. And then eventually you'll get to where you feel more empowered and then you'll be able to take the lead.
I love it. Strength in numbers.
Yes.
Strength in numbers. Yes, there is definitely strength in numbers. That's also why I used to like to take my children with me because, no one likes to bother a woman with a baby and with a screaming toddler.
Yeah.
And several times, places had refused to let us use the bathroom. And I'm like, my toddler's about to pee on the floor right here. What do you think is a bigger health concern?
Yeah. But
Us not muzzling our faces or peeing on your floor.
Christine just labeled it maskless mentors. I like that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Thank you, Christine. Yes.
I think that's an excellent idea.
So if anyone wants to, have mask-free shopping experiences, send private message us your phone numbers and your email address, and then that way we can set this up. And there's some other groups that I want to reach out to and offer this as well with them. And because it'd be really good at first to have like a group of at least 10, but I'm really thinking more like 20.
Yeah.
Because 20 is enough that in a huge store like Smith's, because here's the thing, you gotta outnumber the staff.
Yes.
You have to outnumber the staff. And most stores right now are operating on skeleton crews so that they can have as many customers make up the 75 minimum as possible.
Yeah.
That's what I've been noticing. There's not as many bag boys or cart gals. There's not as many cashiers open. They try to, you know, funnel people toward the self-checkout. There's not as many managers on duty because they're trying to keep it under that 75 limit and have as many customers in the store at one time as possible. So yeah, strength in numbers, and we outnumber them, folks. We really do.
We do.
The problem is that we've let them lie to us, and we've accepted the lies that say, you got to stay home, you can't go out with people. Because the governor knows that when you are with people, you are stronger. That when you are with friends and family, you are a whole person, and you're emboldened and you're encouraged, and now you're having a good time and you're having fun and laughing and talking and building relationships. And she can't have that if she wants to keep us sick. She wants to keep us locked down. I've said it before, she can't let us have fun. That's why the strip clubs are closed and the movie theaters and the bars. And by the way, in San Diego, California, strip clubs aren't closed. The bars aren't closed. The casinos aren't closed, but the churches are closed.
Yeah, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
That should tell you something.
Like,
That's
okay,
awesome.
I'll admit, it's just a
That's
little
awesome,
bit
Leo. Hopefully you can make it up there tomorrow. Leo said he's going to try to make it up to the Capitol with me tomorrow.
Yes! Maybe you can help Rebecca get some petitions signed.
Yeah, I could use some.
Awesome.
I could use some help with that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully we can get a lot of people up there tomorrow. That'd be really nice.
I hope so too. I hope so. I think there are going to be a lot. You know, We the People New Mexico and all these other groups that have been coordinating together, which is funny because that was our dream when we first started all this, was to just get people connected and coordinating. But they've really been getting, oh my gosh, so many people out there.
Yeah.
With that coordinated effort. But
Yeah.
yeah, tomorrow up at the Capitol, 9 a.m. to noon,
Yeah.
was it? 9 a.m. to noon, people.
9 a.m. to noon. Yeah.
So get up there, call your legislators. I think it was Tamara earlier today who had the idea. Call your legislators while you're at the roundhouse. And yeah, that's a great idea. You can call them and say, hi, yeah, I'm here at the roundhouse. The People's House, which of course the governor won't let us into, even though it's paid with our tax dollars. And I want to tell you how to vote because, yeah, I voted you into office, and I sure as heck will vote you out of office if I don't like what you're doing.
Leo is asking if we mentioned what he was talking about on our show last week, and no, we haven't.
No, not yet. Oh, you mean about the update with the fraudulent vote count from 3 counties in northern New Mexico, potentially?
Yeah, Leo's involved in the recount, and there's a lot of fraud in New Mexico.
Andrew also asks, is there anyone that can pick him up for the rally tomorrow? Depends on where you're coming from, Andrew.
So, Leo, when you said yes, are you saying that you can give Andrew a ride?
Or were you responding to us talking about the
I'm not sure.
Saturday's show?
But I mean, I can certainly. What part of town do you live in, Andrew?
Yeah, as long as it's between here and Santa Fe. Yeah, because we're coming from here. But yeah, Leo had given us an update that between 3 counties who had a total population, I think it was around 37 or 36,000, that 20,000 voter IDs got assigned to him from those 3 counties. And they said they had problems with their ballots. And as he pointed out, 36 or 37,000 was their actual population. It wasn't their registered voters. That means that 3 counties possibly got disenfranchised of their votes because 20,000 of their ballots had problems and got returned. And he's having to go through them, and he's finding all sorts of discrepancies.
20,000 out of 27,000. He said 27,000.
Oh,
27,000 out of 36,000. If even that many people vote, and I mean, normally the voting percentage isn't even that high.
Right.
So it's all wrong.
Yeah. And if you go onto the Secretary of State's website, those 3 counties, it was what? Mora County, Guadalupe, and...
Oh, 27,000 was the population, Leo said. And
okay.
20,000 out of the 27,000 were.
Good Lord. Whoa. So, yeah, it's like,
by the way,
that sounds like there's more people
Andrew,
than voting age.
Andrew said he got a ride. He's asking, where do you park? The best place to park, Andrew, when you go up to the roundhouse is across the street. There's the PRC, the Public Regulation Commission, which the parking lot is typically almost empty because I don't even think they're not even open right now, the PRC. So you can park across the street in the PRC parking lot. There's always tons and tons of parking there.
Yeah.
So,
and especially during the week with a special session, the parking in and around the Capitol is probably going to be pretty full.
Yeah. But not the PRC,
yeah.
So they'll be parking across the street.
Yeah.
So yeah, just park over there.
Make sure you all mark up your cars and have your Trump flags.
That's right.
And all that
Take your Trump flags and paint up your cars. If you, I've got some window paints that I use, and I can paint up my windows.
Yeah, windshield markers. Those are awesome.
Yeah, those are fun.
I might need to redo our van soon because I kind of want to put up hashtag Stop the Steal, reopen New Mexico, end the scamdemic. You know, a bunch of stuff to piss people off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, I am thankful so much for this live stream, this show, our Saturday show, the opportunity to speak and speak boldly and then be joined by you all. And the main reason that Rebecca and I started this is, well, we just started gabbing one day and we just never really stopped. But we figured there might be a few other people out there who feel the same way, that might be encouraged by hearing us talk and hearing us speak about these things that impact so many of us. And every now and again we get someone who disagrees and we get to have a little fun with them.
That's right.
But yeah, we're here for you all, and we're here to let you all know that you're not alone in this fight. We're still fighting, and there's lots of different ways that we can fight. The fight doesn't always look the same for every single person.
Yeah.
So if your fight is pulling the masks down under your nose, you go. That's awesome.
Oh, okay. David said he's going to come up there tomorrow. That's awesome. All right, Dave. It's been a while since I've seen you, David, so I'm excited to see you up there. I can't wait.
Sweet. Yes, make sure you check out the table, sign a petition to impeach the governor if you haven't. And then, yes, in case anyone didn't hear earlier, we do need volunteers to take petitions to these rallies, especially when they're on Saturdays, because Saturdays we just, we're at the station.
Yeah, we are doing our thing at the station. So
it would help if we have people that can help out and bring these. And like I said, we can get you all the petitions to sign and some clipboards and even a table, because that really does help. People having a surface to sign things on really helps.
Yeah. I've got a couple of poster boards that I set up that say each MLG. Sign here, and it's like people see that sign and they just flock to the table. It's really easy. Yeah,
you don't really have to beg for signatures. They're begging us to sign. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, are we done, Natalie?
I think so. I've got a sleeping baby in my lap and should probably put him in his crib.
I got to get up in the morning and go to a rally, so
That's right. Oh, we'll get some petitions signed for me, and
right after we get down here, I'm going to be printing up a bunch of them to take with me.
Yeah, I will be calling legislators tomorrow. So you all, if you haven't, check out our Facebook page. I put up some details about what we're calling about, which bills, how we would like our legislators to vote and why. And then also some extra numbers from the roundhouse and and some other committees that you can also call too. But at the very least, go to, find my legislator and at least call your rep and call your senator at the very least.
And by the way, Leo is asking if you're going, which you're not going to be able to go because you have other things you have to do tomorrow. But I will.
We have prior commitments.
We're gonna get up there around 9 a.m., Leo, and we're gonna be there till about noon. So that's the plan right now. So I will be up there at 9.
Okay. Yep. She will indeed. And then I will be calling. And if you can't go, please call. Call their home numbers, call their office numbers, I have a whole slew of other numbers.
Blow up their phone lines.
Yeah, go to our Liberty Ladies Unite Facebook page and just scroll down till you see the call to action. And some of the numbers are already there for you. You can just look at that page and just dial. But we want to shut the switchboard down, inundate them with calls, let them know, hey, New Mexico's here. We know what you're doing, and we don't like it.
Yeah.
So that's our house.
And everybody, if you want to email us, you can email us especially if you have interesting information that we can use. We love it when people send us stuff. So email us at libertyladiesunite@gmail.com.
Yep.
And we're on here every Monday at around 6:30. And then if you can catch our radio show on KIVA, the Rock of Talk, at 1600 AM or 93.7 FM. Then we are on every Saturday on the radio from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So you can call in if you want to. We have a call-in number, and you can join the conversation, and it's a lot of fun. So, and we have a lot of good stuff.
And the best part is getting to be up there with people who feel the same way, and most of them aren't wearing masks.
Exactly. Yeah, Leo, you can call me. Give me about 10 minutes after we're done with our broadcast, and then you can call me. So, okay, everybody. Well, we will catch you later, and hopefully I'll see a bunch of you up in Santa Fe tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And remember one thing, that resistance is not futile.
That's right. And stay free.
That's right. Stay free. Push back. Don't be afraid. You have no reason to be afraid. You are a free American citizen.
Yep. And you were born free and blessed with liberty by God. So by God, take your liberty. Use it. Right. If we don't use it, we'll lose it.
We'll lose it. So be strong, push back, and refuse to comply. And we'll catch you next. Next week.
Yep. Next week, Saturday in the KIVA.
That's right. Bye.
So, good night.
Night.